All right, welcome, everyone. Let's make sure we're all good. I see people coming in. Super excited to have you all today. How's everybody doing? I see people coming in from Dubai, Ohio. Oh my goodness, it must be cold where you are. We got from USA, but residing in Morocco. I want to be where you are. Excited to be here. Chicago, love to see it. Auckland, Pakistan. Thank you all for joining. Bulgaria, whoa, this is a global audience. We love to see it. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know what time it is where you are. I hope it's not too late, but if it is, I appreciate the support. I appreciate you all coming out and showing out to learn something amazing. So again, welcome. This is Designing for Everyone, Unlocking Accessibility in Tech to Empower the Future with Sarah Kadun Ajekwe, Chief Product Officer of She It Her. We're so excited to have you here today. If you don't know me by now, my name is Darlise Calix, co-founder of Create Her Fest. Before we get started, I just want to make sure everyone is set up for a great experience. So if you have any questions or run into any issues during the session, feel free to reach out to me directly in the chat that you all are using here. I'll be here the entire time to help out. A quick note about the tools that we'll be using today. You'll see a Q&A feature in your toolbar to the right. If you're on a computer, feel free to use that to submit any questions for our speaker. And so feel free to drop any questions during the session. We'll address them during and also after the session as well. And also, if you'd like to share reactions, maybe a clap, a thumbs up, you can do that with the chat and then engage with us in the chat. Talk to your fellow creators, talk to us. This is going to be a really engaging session. So let's keep this interactive and fun. And now I'm thrilled to introduce our amazing speaker for today's workshop, Sarah. I'll pass it on over to you.
Hi. How's everyone doing? My name is Sarah Kadon Ajikwe, and I'll be leading this session. Let me quickly share my screen. Awesome. Can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So, like I said, my name is Sarah Kadon Ajikwe, and I'll be leading the session of Designing for Everyone, Unlocking Accessibility in Tech to Empower the Future. And the agenda is going to be brief and short. I'm going to hit the nail on the head and let's keep it going. So let's dive in. My name is Sarah Kadona Jikwe. I'm a digital marketer, designer, and no-code tool expert with experience with working with brands like Coltrane and Google Share. Also, I'm an alumni for West Africa and a co-founder of Shelter. Shelter is a personal safety application for empowering women to feel safe during social activities or night out. I'm very passionate about creating innovative solutions that amplify the brand's presence and deliver measurable results. I'm also a podcaster, YouTuber, and I love to mentor young entrepreneurs. And I love speaking engagement, traveling, music, and movies. So during this course of this presentation, I'm very much likely open to questions. If you did not hear me properly or you want to explain yourself or express yourself, please, you are free to, and let's go straight into it. So the key content of this presentation is the bedrock of inclusivity. What is inclusive design? How inclusive design is non-negotiable, as well as representing innovation in your product and in your services. And I love accessibility products because I, for one, have passed through families or my parents have a lot of issues when it comes to eyesight. They don't listen well because they can't hear properly. So I'm very, very passionate about building products that are very accessible and embedding that into Shelter. makes it even more accessible for women to receive help calmly and safely as well. And you might be wondering, why does accessibility matters? Um, for one, accessibility means different perspective or different things to so many people. But for me, accessibility means designing products or services or offering experiences that can be used by everyone, including people with disabilities, without removing any barrier of participation or accessibility to that particular product, service, or experiences. For example, using Microsoft has an accessible feature like Seeing AI that enables blind people, use their camera and view their environment, and the Seeing AI or the product tells the blind individuals what is around, themselves. And I feel like that is one of the best things that Microsoft would do, or even Google, enabling closed captions and also so many other products out there. For Shelter, we are enabling women to receive help safely, calmly, without any stress. Imagine you find yourself in an unsafe situation. Let's say one night you close from work, or you're going out for your friends, and then you encounter a stalker, or you encounter someone who's chasing you behind. And then at that moment you're very paranoid and you don't know what exactly to do. Once you shake your phone or once you scream to activate the safe word, it automatically sends an alert to your five trusted contacts. Isn't that accessible or something? So for the business advantage when it comes to accessibility is enabling your users test your product before they are launched into the market, because you may have an idea about a user that will use your product, but you are not the user for your product. These are individuals that are going to be using your product with different backgrounds, different cultural appreciation, different ideas, different mindset from you as the product manager or the chief product officer. I made a mistake in my journey in the early days of Shelter by assuming that women would want to receive help this way, or women will want to, go this route in ensuring they are safe. But having a community of women that were able to express themselves, those with abilities and those with disabilities and those who were properly all right, I got to see the various perspective on how people will use this particular product. So in regards to accessibility and embedding accessibility into your product or your product roadmap, I feel like, or rather that would generate brand loyalty, or customers will resonate with your product properly and they will feel satisfied, because um once they're using your products, there are so many ways to go around it and they still feel satisfied. For example, for individuals who have just one hand, for individuals who have light sensitivity, for individuals who have issues with hearing clearly, they can equally use your product and feel, satisfied after using your product. So the key aspects of accessibility ranges from readability to mobile accessibility and so on and so forth. But these four key aspects is what I used here, because these are the four key aspects for WCAG, which means Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And this came about from the World, World Web 3 Consortium in 1990. It goes way back to how individuals interact with interfaces, or interact with designs, or interact with labels. So readability just entails that the content that is on the platform, the product or the services is readable, and that brings me to the next key aspect of accessibility, which means it needs to be operable, which means it needs to be functional. That means whenever a user comes in contact with your interface or comes in contact with your design, comes in contact with your service, it's functional, it's supposed to work. And bringing me to the next key aspect is understandable. That means whatever content you have on your product, it needs to be understandable right from when the user looks at it. What does this mean? How does this interact, or how does the user interact with your product? And finally, one of the key aspects of accessibility is robust. Can your product, or can whatever you're doing or regarding your service, how can it be used in multiple platforms, be it through mobile phones, laptop, iPads? How can it be compatible with all these different sizes and different gadgets? That's what robust means in aspect of accessibility. So I'm quickly gonna play this video. Um, this is a startup in the US, and they're generating a lot of money because including accessibility into their products.
Oh, I think we're not hearing the audio this time. Let's try sharing the entire.
Sorry?
Yeah, I think we're not hearing the audio. Let's try sharing the entire screen.
Okay, okay. Let me just try the entire screen then.
Mhm.
Um, so far, are we enjoying the conversation? Please, can I see some thumbs up and some interaction? Awesome. So I think it's a common now. Uh, can we hear it now?
Tech tends to focus on the future so much.
Can we hear the hello?
Yeah, we can hear.
Awesome. Let me start again from the beginning.
Tech tends to focus on the future so much that it overlooks the big opportunity in building businesses aimed at boomers. Papa and Honor do this really well. Papa is one that connects an older person and their family, someone that can come over and hang out, help them around the house. These folks dollars an hour. Over at Honor, that's more about their health. Home is a very big challenge and opportunity as we age. Connects people to the best technology and operational efficiency to have the best home health care imaginable. I do hope in 2025 and beyond that we continue seeing people build and invest in companies that are aimed at Gen X and boomers, because we will all age one day and we all want to age well.
Awesome.
Tech tends to focus on the future.
That brings us to the statistics. According to the global economics of disability, the global disability market is worth 8 trillion US dollars annually. That makes about 15% of the world population. You can imagine, and is that is also increasing on a percentile basis monthly. In the next years to come, let's say 2030, most individuals are growing much more older. And for them to still have access to products, or have access to services, or have access to opportunities like this, they need to be included in this opportunity. Also, um, according to the global economics of disability, it goes further to say from the 2024 edition that the purchasing power of individuals or family members who are disabled in a particular family, the purchasing power is 18 trillion US dollars. So there's a huge opportunity in this space. That means we are supposed to keep pushing for accessibility inclusion in a lot of offices, in a lot of services, in a lot of diverse teams. That is where diverse team comes in, because You could see things from a different perspective, and the other person can learn from you, and that's it keeps growing and making more innovative products. So I'm sure we're also wondering what is inclusivity or what is inclusive design. And I'm going to relate that to empathy and empowerment. So basically, inclusivity is essential part of building an equitable tech industry or aligning the mission and vision to that of, let's say, women tech makers, which is to empower women in underrepresented groups globally. So accessibility is not just a feature; it's a necessity rather for breaking barriers and creating opportunities. For me, I would say accessibility is a goal. Accessibility is a destination, and inclusive design is how we get to that destination. So I'm going to relate it to empathy and empowerment. So empathy is at its core the beginning of every product or the beginning of every design principle. Empathy is something that does not just come natural. To some, it may come natural, to some, they have to learn it. So empathy driven innovations is important because um, if you notice, like women, when women are added into different teams, you could see how they are very empathetic to, making this element of a design suitable for a user. Empathy driven innovations create more opportunities for users or customers to feel satisfied, to feel heard. You know, the feeling you get when someone hear you, the feeling you get when someone understands you is the same thing you get when you're using a product that is made just for you. It's made for everyone, but it just feels different for you when you're using that product. That's what empathy driven innovations, makes you. Then representing better design, I would say more like having diverse teams together to build different products. I would say, or rather, I would advise individuals in creating products or in creating services that the teams needs to be diverse, because diversity brings a lot of inclusion. I don't know if you get me, but I know what I'm saying, and I'm sure you do as well. So diversity creates a lot of inclusion. That's what I would say. And in bridging the gap, gender equality in tech is important. It's not just to be fair, because like now a lot of companies, a lot of organization has the women in tech, and sometimes I feel it's too much because why are you pushing a narrative? But in all fairness, gender equality is important in building globally successful products or globally successful businesses because you know underrepresented communities have issues because they've been left aside, they've been excluded from opportunities like coming together to build products, coming together to do market research, coming together to empathize or pain points. So gender equality is really important in bridging the gap of accessibility issues or inclusive design. And I've been preaching more about empowering diverse perspective. Um, Using shelter as an example, my co-founder is Kenyan and I am Nigerian, and then we have other members of the team who are from um, aside Nigeria, Kenya, some from Rwanda, some from South Africa, and this has given us so many diverse, ideas in creating an app for women's safety because the way Nigeria you've heard about insecurities, you've heard about gender-based violence in South Africa, gender-based violence in Kenya, gender individuals that have access to internet, smartphones, and those that don't. But specifically speaking about accessibility, the digital divide is showing that, for example, including assistive technologies like cultural inclusion. For example, ensuring that your products have, opportunity for including, let's say, cultural languages like, let's say, Arabic, Spanish, French, and also assistive technologies like closed captions, assistive technologies like light mode, dark mode, and many more. So, using an example of women who are killing it in the tech field is Harbin Girma. She's an advocate for accessible tech and accessible designs. Uh, I don't know if I can pull up her picture here, but I'll still show you her. She's doing an amazing job because she's one of the first women who is blind and deaf to have graduated from Harvard Law School, and she's been advocating for accessible tech and also sharing her experience as someone who's deaf and someone who's um, blind, because she needs to feel, included in stuff like this. Because I'm sure we've all experienced situations where we were excluded from certain, opportunities. How did you feel? So she is on a journey to advocate for accessible tech. And the second woman is Sienna Brooke. She's a champion for inclusive fashion and technology design. She's a two-time TED Talk speaker, and she's doing an amazing job because this is something that is important. This is something that, sometimes we overlook in our products because we think we have the users in mind, not knowing that there's also this opportunity out there for disabled people. And most of the times the disabled people are not, they never found, they never thought that they would be in that situation. Some it was natural, they were giving birth to, some it's genetic, some just as they grew up things happen and they became disabled. So feeling left out feels um like a lot because they feel stigmatized, and that is not good because we need more of those opportunities for disabled people to be part of us. And that is what inclusive design is. And that is why I said accessibility is the goal, it is the destination, but inclusive design is how we get to that destination. Um, for some of us here, we may not know much about accessible designs, inclusive designs. There are so many types of designs, universal designs out there, but in particular for accessible designs, steps on how to get to that point of, understanding and building products that are inclusive and building products that are accessible. One, I would say educate and educate yourself and build empathy. Learn accessible standards like the WCAG, the web content accessible guidelines, and go through it because I'm sure some of us here have experience going into a website or going into a product or going into an application and leaving after like 3 seconds or four because either the load time was too slow, you didn't get what you wanted to do on the website, you didn't understand it. So I would say learn accessible standards, learn how to engage with individuals with disabilities, and understand how that background is to be to be able to create products or services that suits them or makes them included. And I would say also have empathy for them because in as much as you build knowledge, you need to have empathy in creating solutions for them or in creating solutions that include them. And secondly, I would say stay informed, explore tools like Lighthouse for your website, explore tools like Accessibility Scanner, and familiarize yourself with assistive technologies like screen readers and more, or closed captions. Closed captions is more like captions that pop up as you speak. For example, Google Meet has closed captions. As you speak, the captions are literally automatically written on the screen. So those are examples of closed captions. And three, I would say practice inclusive designs, incorporate features that help users that have disabilities, like for example light sensitivity. They can't see properly. They have issues with seeing farther, so you need to make your text bolder. So all of this is also very important, and I have content for you to go through, and I will share after the presentation. So incorporate features like alt text on your photos. So sometimes, let's say you go to a website and the load time is slow, so you need to have alt text in order for those images that fail to load on time, so that they know that this is something here, and then they could still understand what's on your website, in as much as it's slow. And I'll also say test with your users regularly. What we did at Shelter was we created a group of women uh, who had disabilities or not, or who has experienced unsafe situations before. And we gave them the application to use. It was more like a enclosed, usability testing community. And we got a lot of feedback because, different women with different backgrounds, with different perspective, we had to come to understanding that this is something universal, and this is how we created an amazing interface. And I'll say four, advocate and collaborate. Join accessibility communities or UX designer communities or UI designer communities as well. Collaborate with diverse teams. Network with other individuals from the US, Canada, Africa, Europe, all over the world. I would say come together, create or collaborate on different projects, and build products that will go into the market and sell. Build products that will include disabled people. Build products that will be universal for anyone and everyone. And before, I like to leave this quote by my favorite entrepreneur, Steve Jobs. And he said, design is not just what it looks like and how it feels like, design is how it works. Uh, so, thank you very much. And thank you for your commitment to making technology accessible that can transform and shape a better future for all. Lastly, I would say, let's design for everyone. So you can follow me on Instagram and follow Shelter on Instagram as well.
Amazing. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
That was phenomenal. I'm super excited to see how some of our builders maybe implement some accessibility with their projects. I was saying in the chat, like for the Ideathon and the Hackathon, it's something that we're definitely looking for. It's definitely something that's a part of the criteria. And
Yeah.
so I would say whatever resources Sarah dropped, and Sarah, if you can email us any more that you have, we'll share that with the builders
Yes.
as well. I did want to say for those who didn't see it in the chat, but if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or drop them in the Q&A, and we can ask them here. But one question that I do have is, how does somebody get kind of started in terms of building with accessibility in mind?
So that's a good question. For me, I will start with, what problem are you trying to solve? Yeah, and then connect that problem with users. Ask users questions. Ask, okay, first of all, what problem are you trying to solve? Then narrow it down. What's the target market? And then narrow it down to who will eventually use this product, who will eventually pay for this product, what's the user pain point, and then also think about it in a broader perspective. That's why you need a diverse team to work with, because I have made that mistake building a product because it was just for children, right? And my mind was just on children, and I didn't think about parents. I didn't think about what about those people who can see properly? What about those people? I know it can be a lot sometimes. It can be a whole lot because you have to think about everybody. That's where empathy comes in. So you need, how to break it down to one single piece and then create something exceptional. That's what I would say. It's not easy, but it's
Mhm.
worth it. Yeah, it's not
Definitely.
easy. Yeah.
That's a good answer. What do you say about companies? Because like accessibility has been a thing. Like obviously, as so long as
Yeah.
have existed, we've needed this. We've had this need for accessibility. But I've
Yeah.
noticed a lot of companies not prioritize that. Some developers, some
Mhm.
designers are just like, I'd rather make something, super graphically amazing and busy,
Yeah.
not prioritize accessibility. So what do you say for the like, can design and accessibility coexist? Like, can you have good design and great accessibility?
Oh yes, I 100%. I agree because I feel like designers that do that they miss the little things
Mm,
because when you see them, you're like, if this was just this way, this would have been better. But I still feel like they miss the little things, right? They are building for these people and then they're excluding these people, where there's also an opportunity for the disabled people. So I would say when you're designing, put in mind everybody easy, like I said, but the text, the size, the font, you know, can this be seen in a dim light? Can this be seen in with someone? Can this be used by someone who has one hand or by someone who has no hands? And then just create something that just anyone can use. I feel like designers are one of like the superheroes out there because they create solutions that anyone can use. So it's literally you being a superhero right now. So I would just say um, every designer should just have in mind, inclusive design. Be inclusive and don't just design for a particular set of people because you're missing out on a greater opportunity as well.
mm, good
Yeah.
point. Good point. My last question, if in case people are still typing or if no one has any questions, but what advice would you give for designers who are trying to build for design for accessibility, especially with the Ideathon and Hackathon coming up?
So I didn't get the last part.
Oh, yeah. I was saying, what advice would you give to some of our participants in terms of keeping accessibility in mind and building great design with accessibility in mind, especially with the Ideathon and Hackathon coming up?
Oh, awesome. For me, I would advise the designers to not be rigid. I would say that they should be very open-minded, taking key feedback, understand the user's pain point, or this thing is with a lot of data because users may say things, but they don't know what they want. So you need to also act very smartly, using empathy as well, and listen as they speak. Because, like I said, users sometimes do not know what they want, but from their pain points, you can derive a solution. So, my advice is listen with empathy. Don't be too quick to find, how to solve it. Do a lot of research. Research is like 80%, design is like 20%. So I would say 80% do research, 20% design. Once you hit the mark on your research, you've hit the mark on your design. Yeah, so that's what I would say. And um, don't be rigid. Be
Don't be
free.
rigid. Don't be
Yeah,
rigid.
don't be
Amazing.
rigid. Yeah,
Thank you for that. I'm so
thank
excited to
you.
see how everybody implements. Oh, wait, we have one more question.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
any free frameworks we can try to build a prototype for user-friendly UX design? So are
Oh,
there
yeah.
any tools that help us build with accessibility in mind, but fast?
Hmm. I would say you should check out growth design. I sent it in the chat earlier. I think you can reshare it as well. And then for the frameworks, I would just say search for, I forgot the name. I don't want to give the wrong name. I'll share with you after the session. You just keep my mind. But for create growth design, that's one. It will teach you a lot about how to, know a bad design and a good design. But in fact, growth design literally have everything, all of it. Yeah, because they also practice a lot of inclusive design, and you go through so many case studies, and then you understand because it's a story. They're telling you a story, and then you're understanding the story, and like, this is different. This is how you're supposed to make it look better. So I'll say growth design. If there's any, I will send it as well. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you
And
so
also,
much.
good luck to everyone in the hackathon. I can't wait to see the amazing designs that will come up because I'm so excited to also learn from you guys. And, good luck. You can do this. You are born for this. That's how I say.
You were born for this. Love it. You're
Yeah.
all creators here. You're all creators. You got this. Thanks
Yeah,
so
you
much,
got this.
Sarah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
this. One last thing, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Everyone in the chat, thank you for attending. So if you enjoyed this workshop, we'd love to hear your thoughts. And so we'd really appreciate if you filled out the survey. Let us know, let Sarah know how
Okay.
you enjoyed the workshop. This really helps us create more programming and really gear into like what you all are looking for. So thank you
Yeah.
all so much for
Yeah.
filling out that survey in advance. I'm thanking you because I'm assuming you're going to go do it. And also,
Yeah.
since we have a little bit of time, we have maybe like 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
I think I just didn't want to, I wanted to just touch the basics because
Yeah,
talking too much sometimes it's not like I don't do that. I just go straight to the basics, straight to the point. This is it. And then boom, boom, out. But
no
yeah,
worries. I'm thinking like since we have a couple of minutes, I'll stop the recording. I'll stop presentation mode. We'll go back to the floor. Maybe we hang out
yeah,
at one of the tables and stuff. And so if anyone's interested in asking Sarah some questions or just talking about
yeah, I'm
design,
around.
let's hang out.
Yeah,
Let's hang out. So
yeah.
let's do that. All right, everyone. Thank you all
I
so much.
see you.
See you.